Good morning, my name is Peter Shields and I'm pleased to welcome you all to today's webinar on building acoustics. Irfan Mohamed, the Asia Pacific Support Manager from the ACOEM group, to present on a smart new approach to building acoustics.
Okay, so good morning everyone. My name is Irfan. I am the Support Manager for ACOEM in the Asia Pacific region. Let me just disconnect that. Okay, is that better? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the new 0-1dB smart building acoustic solution. One of the recurring themes you'll see in my presentation is about how we're trying to make this as simple and as easy to use as possible. So up on the screen now we have a picture of the Fusion, a simple, very easy to use handheld device. And our goal is to improve productivity. So generally when we try and do building acoustic measurements, having done several myself, we have a little bit of time for preparing our gear. We have a lot of time to do measurements, sometimes up to half a day to get outside, go and do all the relevant measurements, try and get everyone to keep silent while we're doing the background noise measurements, come back to the office, analyze and do a report. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a solution that is as time-saving as possible compared to the other equipment out there. So we want to focus on cost reduction and simplicity. So basically we have a standard building acoustic measurement where we have a source in one room. We will measure the source level, then we go to the next room, we measure the receiving level, the background noise and the reverberation time. From there we might look to obtain a DNTW level. Similarly, we have a more complex setup where we not only want to look at the partition test, we also want to do a tapping test. We also want to measure equipment. For example, we want to look at the plumbing acoustics in the apartment. And one of the common things we will have is the background noise levels and the reverberation time level in the receiving room will be the same. So one of the convenience we would like, if possible, is to not have to repeat this measurement every time. So this is where our efficiency starts. We have a very simple solution where we have one device and we can do all the measurements using one device with one interface. And then instead of having to repeat the background noise and the reverberation time measurement several times, especially when it comes to background noise levels, it might be difficult considering there might be other things happening around the area. We can simply combine the measurements. So let's take a peek at our new solution. So what we have here is our Duo family. So we have the Duo and the Fusion. We have a building acoustic module, simple, easy to use software, and we have the various noise sources. In this case, the dodecahedron and a tapping machine. So in terms of the measurements, we can either use the Duo or the Fusion. So if you already have a Duo, you can simply purchase the building acoustic module. If you would like to purchase a Fusion, or you already have a Fusion, similarly, you can simply purchase the module. So what we have here is the flexibility with two instruments and one smart solution. We have with us the Duo. As we know, the Duo can be used with any mobile device. It works with both Android and iOS devices. Hence, we can do our measurement where we are with the equipment or simply through a remote device. Okay, as I was mentioning, when we're trying to do measurements, we can use either the option where we simply conduct a measurement from the measurement device itself, or we can use our remote device. This is kind of handy, especially when we have to measure source levels where the noise is particularly loud and we'd rather be outside the room than having to measure inside the room. Next, the simplicity of using our tools. One of the recurring themes that you'll find throughout the building acoustic module is we want to make things simple. We don't want to complicate things. We don't want to have a device where it takes half a day to learn how to use it. So we don't have a lot of buttons. There's just 3 simple buttons to use, no complicated keypad. We have an easy to read screen. So as you can see on this screen, we are using the building acoustic 1/3 octave band module. We have on the screen, we have the option to either select measuring equipment or measuring the various room acoustic levels. So that's the receiver, the source, impact test, reverberation time, and background noise. This is the screen where the measurement is currently being conducted, and we can view this measurement as we are going through it. Once it's completed, we select end, and then we have the option of whether we want to keep the measurement or not. This is the display for reverberation time. Again, easy. We can look at the measurement straight away. We can observe whether we have the right levels in each octave band spectrum and choose to store it. Once we have stored the reverberation time, we can view the spectrum with the impulse for each frequency. In this case, we're looking at the 4 kilohertz frequency octave band. And we also have the option of not storing it if we don't want it, and we can repeat the test. Should we store a reverberation time which we find is not suitable for us, we can later exclude it in the post-processing. Now we look at the flexibility of our solution. What we find is sometimes when we have set up our equipment for a particular test and then we find that we're on site we need to do more than one, it's often not that easy to move between one measurement module to the other. However, with our building acoustic module, we can do an independent partition test, complete it, do a common receiving room tapping test. Hence, we can either do one independent test or a combination of a partition test and a tapping test. For example, if we were to go and conduct a partition test and then later we are called back to do a tapping test in the exact same room, we can simply use the same measurement files and add the tapping test measurements to it. And this will be demonstrated in the next slides. So we have a very flexible system of sound level meter data organization. We have the partition test, we have the tapping test. So in here we have test 1 with the source level, receiving level, background noise, and reverberation time. Then we have test 2 with the impact test and the background noise level and the reverberation time. Right? And we can have test 3 with the similar levels again. So what we can do here is we can combine partition 1 and 2 into one test. Even if we have done it independently, we can later combine it in the post-processing. So we have test 1, background noise level, reverberation time, impact level, source level, receiving level. Then we have the various levels we've done here. And we can reuse the background noise measurement and the reverberation time in test 2. Apparently, this is supposed to save 30% in terms of measurement time, which sort of makes sense if you consider the time required to get a good background noise level. Okay, now we'll look at efficiency. So there'll be a little quiz here. We're going to move from efficiency to smart efficiency. The quiz here is, where am I and what am I doing? So I hope the sound comes through the PowerPoint. We have the first level, the second level, and we have the third measurement. So we have 3 measurements there, but we're not sure what it is. So what we're doing here is we're measuring the source room level, the receiving room level, and the reverberation time. 1, 2, and 3. And what we have here, which is completely new, having used different equipment myself, we have our first level as the source level. The Duo and the Fusion, using the building acoustic module, is able to recognize the different source levels we're measuring. So the first level, the second noise or level that we demonstrated earlier, receiving room level, receiving level, obviously as the levels are lower, RT interrupted, making it easy for us. Notice the ease in the display here. So this is the display where after we have completed our measurement, we will select the relevant measurement that we have done. So we have 6 different types of measurements, 90% detection rate. Having used this myself, most of the time it comes out correct. And we have the manual choice of correcting. So some cases, perhaps the receiving level is not high enough, or the source level is not high enough. Then we would have to manually select the correct level. We have a customized setup. So we have also the ability to measure interrupted noise and impulse noise from the same interface. By the way, this is a new patented system by 01dB, and we hope you will be able to try it out very soon. Next, in terms of flexibility of using our equipment can be used with any noise source. You do not need to use a 01dB tapping machine or a 01dB Omni source. You can use any source you want. We can also do measurements with a tapping machine and with a noise source. We do not need to change modules for the different tests we want to do. Analysis and reporting. So what we will find is typically once we have conducted our building acoustic or room acoustic measurement, we have to come back and download the measurement that we have done, put it into Excel, do the relevant calculations, and so on and so forth. But here we wanted to find a little bit of ease in this process. Hence, as we have seen this pie chart earlier, we have the preparation of our gear, a lot of time spent to do measurements. We come back to the office, we conduct our analysis, and then we have to write our report. Now, the measurement time perhaps can be reduced to a certain level. However, there is the time taken to do the measurement, but we can try and reduce the remaining 2 portions of our measurement process. So we can try and reduce the analysis and the reporting. Hence, we're not going to use dBBati anymore. We're going to use a much easier, simpler approach, something that can be used by anyone, does not require a lot of training. It's a one-touch approach, as easy as using an Excel sheet. So allow me to introduce our new software, dB Insight. So dB Insight, as the name suggests, is for inside measurements. With dB Insight, we can perform our measurements, save it onto the meter, import it into dB Insight, and export it into Excel. And how many clicks is this supposed to take? Importing into dB Insight, very straightforward. From dB Insight, exporting into our Excel template, 1 click. Next, we look at the efficiency of our system. We have a very simple, easy-to-use interface. It's very readable. It's not too complex. Everything is easily labeled and easily separated. So once we've conducted our test, we have done, for example, in this case, 6 source levels, 6 receiving level, 5 background noise measurements. That's quite a few. And 5 reverberation time measurements. Once we have done this, we import our data into dB Insight, and it is all organized as per how we have done it. So we have our source levels all shown chronologically. We have our receiving levels, background noise levels, and reverberation time. Simple, easy to use, all well organized for us. We also have the automatic line creation of the various results, all well separated. All right, so we have, as I was saying, the separation of the different measurements, automatic line creation, easy to identify. So for example, here we have the average line result. We do not have to average our spectrums. It's all done for us. We have the rating line, and this is the overall test measurement. So in this case, we're looking at a DNTW measurement. So what we have done, what we can also do is we can incorporate all our 3 different measurements into one measurement file. So if we have done a partition test, a tapping test, and we have done measurement of some noisy equipment in the next room, we can incorporate that all into one measurement file, as we will demonstrate here. So we have source level, receiving level, background noise, reverberation time, we have impact noise testing, we have equipment testing. So what we'll notice straight away that the system immediately separates the different measurements that we have done. We have the impact noise, we have equipment noise, we have the relevant spectrums that are affiliated with each noise that are immediately listed in each test that is done. So right here we have the impact noise level, we have the overall equipment noise level, we have the background noise level, the reverberation time level. So the software immediately separates the different spectrums based on what is relevant to the measurement that's being conducted. As I mentioned before, we're looking at simplicity, hence this is going to be shown a few times. What we will see in the next video is how easy it is to operate the software. So I shall let the video run and provide the relevant commentary. Okay, so simple to expand. We have 3 different displays in DB Insight which shall be demonstrated in this video. So we have the main measurement test, we have the relevant spectrums. We can select a different display, making it a bit simple to look at. We have the expanded display with all the various spectrums that we've measured. And we have the minimized display. Hence, we can simply see the different tests that have been done. Okay. In the next video, we will look at the auto fill-in option, where once we have done a measurement, we bring it back to the office, we import it into DB Insight, and we will enter the relevant building name, floor, apartment, room, and so on and so forth. So let's look at that. Simple auto fill-in. So notice as the building name, floor, and apartment is entered into the test line, it is immediately duplicated into the relevant lines below. And this is shown all the way down to the bottom. So there is an immediate distinction between the source room and receiving room. Okay. Next we will go into the Next we will go into the flexibility in terms of automatic computation. So we will demonstrate how should we change anything within the measurement, it will immediately be reflected. So we will see here we are going to change the target for the DNTW and the LNTW. Sorry. So we have the results at 36 and 34 and 44.8. Next we change the target. So we wanted a better rating for the wall. We are happy with the rating for the floor. And we're not happy with the measurement level for the equipment. So this is immediately reflected as we key in our target levels. Should we remove it, we will see it reflected in the display immediately. Okay. Now we're going to look at our flexibility in terms of the export to Excel. Okay, we have one-click Excel reporting. So once we have conducted our measurements, we have brought it into DB Insight, everything's fine, we can export it straight into an Excel template. Notice that this Excel template is in French. We can actually customize our template into English or any other language we want. We can also add extra sheets to the Excel template For example, if you want to add a personalized or customized certificate of conformity at the end of the Excel sheet that reads data from the other sheets within the Excel sheet, you can do so. You can also edit the display. You can change the way things are laid out. You can add detail to it. It's completely customizable, completely revisable. In my case, I have changed my Excel sheet to English, and if anybody wants an English version of the DB Insight Excel template, just send me a line and I'll send it to you. Right. Now we're looking at how easy and powerful it is to use DB Insight. DB Insight is backward compatible. Hence, if you have Solo and you plan to buy a Fusion or a Duo, or you plan to add on the building acoustic module to your Fusion or your Duo, you can do so and package that with DB Insight, and then you can immediately use it with Solo. You do not need to purchase additional software, or for example, you do not need to continue using DB Bati if you want to use DB Insight. So automatic recalculation. What we have often is we have done our measurements, however, we're not happy with some of the measurements we've done. So typically DB Insight will do an average of the levels that we've measured. But what we found is perhaps one of the measurement is not accurate. We want to remove it from the average spectrum. Hence, very simply, we have here the two spectrums selected. We have our result. We will unselect one of the spectrums we don't want, and this is immediately reflected in our results. Next, we look at one of the latest additions to DB Insight. So in the next release of DB Insight, we will find that we have a new option called the room criteria. The room criteria is based on the impulse response measurement, typically reliant on the reverberation time, and we have the option to look at the various room criteria descriptors in the next slide. So here we have the reverberation time, early decay time, clarity, definition. We have STI and Rusty, and also we have the reverberation time for the various octave band spectrums. So this is a new addition to DB Insight. So those who are already using DB Insight might not find this in their version of DB Insight. However, this will be released very soon. So in conclusion, what we have here is a very simple, powerful solution. We can use it with either Fusion or the Duo, with the building acoustic module, with the DB Insight PC software. Very simple, easy to use software. And we can incorporate that with the various sources that we're using. So that's the end of it for me. And I shall just summarize in how the product manager concluded. Basically, we have the efficiency of using remote control. We have smart recognition, where the device can recognize the levels that are being measured. Hence, it's very easy. We have easy data organization. We can combine measurements from the various different tests we're doing. We do not need to have separate tests set up for each different measurement we're conducting. It's simple. 3 buttons. You can't get confused. You can't accidentally delete unless you are intending to do so. We have only the essential information, no user confusion. Automatic calculation within DB Insight. So should we include or exclude a spectrum? Should we perform measurements, not be happy, go out, conduct measurements again, come back, incorporate that into our measurement file, it will be automatically recalculated. We have the flexibility, measure as you want. You do not have to use all of the modules. You can go out and do a tapping test, then go to the same space and conduct a partition test. You can use either the Fusion or the Duo. You have Excel report, hence easy ability to export all your measurements into Excel. Within the Excel sheet, you can customize your template. You can change and only have the relevant entries you want. You can change it into a different language, as I've done. In conclusion, what we have today is a very simple, easy to use, powerful solution. Anyone can pick it up and use it with minimum training. It does not require half a day's worth of training to learn how to use it. And we hope you'll be happy using our option. That's it for me. I hope I have presented the building acoustic module in a very easy and clear way to understand. I will now hand it back to Peter.
So in partnership with Marshall Day Acoustics Australia, AirMet represents the ACOEM 01 dB product range in Australia and New Zealand. So if you'd like any further information on these products, please feel free to contact us. And finally, I'd just like to thank Christophe and Irfan for their time today. Very informative and interesting presentations. Thanks very much.